The appeal filed by the former governor of Taraba State, Reverend Jolly Nyame, challenging the verdict of the FCT High Court that sentenced him to 14 years in prison, was delivered Friday by the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal. In the appeal, Justice Emmanuel Agim agrees with the lower court in finding Reverend Jolly Nyame guilty of criminal breach of trust and misappropriation of public funds in several sums, including the use of 24 million naira for grain, which was never delivered, 101 million naira spent for hosting former President Olusegun Obasanjo when he visited the state, and the approval of 250 million naira for stationaries which were never delivered. Justice Agim frowns at the notion that security vote cannot be accounted for. He says so long as it is a public fund, there is the need to give account of how the monies are spent by governors. He upholds the judgment of the FCT High Court as he varies the judgment from 14 years to 12 years imprisonment, noting that since he is a first-time offender, the maximum term should not be given to him as provided by Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2014. He also fines Nyame 495 million naira in addition to the 12 years given to him. After the judgment, counsels to the EFCC and Nyame reacted to the judgment.
We are satisfied with the judgment. It was a very sound judgment. It's throwing more light on the fight against corruption. And we all know there is this general misconception that once there is security provision, that you can disburse the security fund, you can use it to solve your own personal problem. That general misconception has been addressed in this court, because it means now that security funds are accountable and you must give account for it. You can't carry the security fund and put it in your own personal account. So that is what this judgment does. Is a landmark decision that affects the fight against corruption positively. Well, that's the binding decision of the court. The Court of Appeal found forcefully that being a false offender, that is not good to give maximum sentence, and that's why for this case it was reduced from 14 years to 12 years.
We will study it carefully, and we will consult with the client, and whatever his instructions are will be carried out. And we will advise him generally. The question of fine, I was hearing of it for the first time today. Throughout the arguments, it never came up. In no brief was it ever referred to. Well, but we're going to look at everything generally.
Similarly, Justice Stephen Adder of the Court of Appeal, who delivers judgment on the appeal filed by the former governor of Plateau State, Joshua Dariye, challenging the 14-year jail term handed to him by the FCT High Court, was varied from 14 years to 10 years imprisonment. His offense borders on diversion of 1.62 billion naira ecological fund. The appeal court ruled that the lower court erred in law when it sentenced Dariye, a first-time offender, to the maximum 14 years term contained in the charge against him. After the judgment, his counsel, Jumbo Festus, reacted.
The sentence that was earlier made by the trial court for 14 years to run concurrently had been reduced to 10, and the ones that were for 2 years had been reduced to 1 year. There were also sentences that the court disallowed, and the court did not agree with the trial court. And as I said earlier, we hope to discuss with the appellant, who is the material person in this appeal, and to take it up from there.
For now, both Joshua Dariye and Reverend Jolly Nyame remain convicts unless overturned by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Joseph Kadri, ITV News, Abuja.